Okay. Um, so I have been using Chemix for years now, and Brenda had asked me, I don't know, earlier this fall about something that made me think of it, and so I showed it to her, and I guess I just thought that most people had already like played with this before, but Brenda pointed out that maybe it might be new, or some of the new features are going to be new for some people. So Chemix in the classroom. Chemix is it's cloud-based, and I just checked. There is no app, but it is. You can get to it. I'm going to show you the website right now. That link right there. If you do not have a Chemix account, there are free versions of it, and it's pretty useful even in the free version. But right now, you can get a free trial from this website. Um, You do need to put in a credit card, but you can cancel before they charge your credit card. And I believe that the current rate is $4, or like around $4.50 a month. Um, so it's affordable. And so I do have the Boost account, the paid version. So Brenda, could you maybe copy that into the chat so I can go to the next screen if anybody still needs that?
Okay.
I know it's not like, I couldn't make it interact since it's on Zoom, but let's see, how many people do I have? 13. Do I have any people that have never used Chemix before? If you've never used it. Larry, you've not used it? Come on now.
Oh, I will tell you, there's some things we would have done differently on the curriculum if we had known about it.
Yeah. Come on now, Larry.
I'm embarrassed to admit it.
I thought that I showed this to you. Okay, well, this is loading, but here's a quick little video of just one of the things that you can do. I was shocked at how many options we had available to us on this website, even in the free version. And I have been using it for quite a while. So back when it was newer, there were way fewer features. And I connected with the creator on what was then Twitter and sent a message like, hey, I really wish we had this. And then it was there. Like, he really did take feedback. He is based in the UK. So, when I was communicating with him, I did have to keep that in mind with the time difference, but he was really fast and very responsive to things that teachers were saying. And like, I'll show you some of the things that they added in that came from a high school teacher, because there's like no way that anyone, like, why is there a gummy bear option? Like, why is that there? Except for to blow it up. Like, I know that somebody requested that. So one thing that I found invaluable, as Elijah said, he started teaching in the fall of 2020. And we, who have been teaching for a while, all remember that time. And trying to find a solution to how are we going to do lab? How am I going to get my kids to understand anything about lab if I'm not going to see them in person? And one of the things that we came up with was using Chemix to create these images to share with them digitally. So we could create lab procedures with these images that were high quality and easy to edit and to make personal. So I could personalize it to what my students specifically needed. Thank goodness I'm not doing Zoom teaching every day anymore, so I don't have to rely on this solely for lab. But what I took away from what I learned during the pandemic, I can make my instructions much more clear by providing these illustrations. And I do teach in a very small private school, and we are a college prep school, but 10% of our population are Mandarin speakers, and they are international students from China. And their English language proficiency is a vast array I have some kids that come in and can speak fluently, and I have some kids that come in and they can read English, but they really can't understand what I'm saying. And so giving them these types of instructions that were all laid out in pictures was really helpful. And so I know that in other school systems, ELL or English language learners, this is a way to help them engage with the lab instructions, even if you can't provide them the instructions in their native language or in the language that they can understand, they can still understand the pictures. So this was a game changer for a lot of us. And then these pictures are ones that I stole from Brenda because she had them already made. And so we used it for, these are pictures from the Mass and Change Lab, which if you teach chemistry, it's like the first lab of the year. And we could illustrate everything and just like lay it on a paper on the lab station. So students could move between the lab stations, and like even for equipment that they were not familiar with, they at least knew how to, like what it looked like and what they had to do to it or with it. And it's not just chemistry. There's plenty of images that you can create for physics applications and for biology and middle school. So here are some of the newer biology features. They added plants, and then they added bacteria smears and petri dishes and different cultures, and you can change the color of them too. I don't know anything about biology, but I assume that's important. I don't think that all bacteria look the same, so you can change the color. So what do you wish you had better images of? And I've been using the chemistry modeling materials for over a decade now, and I've used them, so I want to make new questions. I especially want to make extra questions for my students to be able to like have extra practice. And the thing that got me hooked on this that I was so excited about to share with Brenda was manometers, because trying to find more practice for manometers for my students online, like I've used all the images I could find online already. And I didn't want to hand draw them. And then I was trying to like maneuver circles and erase parts and like draw a manometer. And then all of a sudden, like I could make one on Chemix. I had to get a little creative. I had to take a round bottom flask and what they call it a manometer, but it's just the open U tube. It's just the tube at the bottom. And I can flip it to either side, so I can make the ball on either side, because that's one place where my kids get confused, like, oh, do you always add? Do you always subtract? And so I can give them like novel problems here. And instead of just like whiting out and redrawing pictures on my worksheets, I could create new ones specific to my classroom. Another place that I really struggled to find material was when teaching metric system and precision. And so you can make really nice and clearly readable images here that I hadn't thought of. Like when Chemix came out, this wasn't the intent, right? Like the intent was to create pictures so that kids in college could go and create and like recreate the lab setup. Or they could include these images when they were publishing papers. They could create and use these images. And then high school teachers found it, and then here we are using it to teach kids how to read the different equipment that we have in class. I will say, like Brenda made this much more precise. Like she went in and she added additional lines on the ruler, but you can find a ruler on there. You can find graduated cylinders. You can adjust the meniscus, like you can make it curve more up or you can make it flat. So you can show the difference between using a plastic container and a glass container. You can change the color of the liquid. You can stack liquids. And then like here are just a couple things, like the ruler, you can make one out of a rectangle, but they do have a ruler image there. There are different items that you can land on there, and you can change the length of it so that you can have them compare different sizes. You can also add different objects into the liquid and show how to read volume by displacement. And all of that, like I had, again, used all the images I could find online. like the ones that were already out there, I had already used them and I wanted to find something new. So Chemix really provided that for me. Let's see what other recipes I have in here. Oh, Brenda showed me this week. This is the conductivity tester from Flynn. And look, you can even make the light slide up. Like this is when it's not lit up, and this is when it is lit up. And you can make just one light up if you want to. They added the lantern battery, so like the giant battery that I use for the electrolysis of copper 2 chloride. So I can actually make my images look like what we're doing in class instead of just a rectangle. So I don't know. I get excited about that. I wish I had more modeling friendly practice problems. So this is where we can get really specific. Here's some energy bar charts that correspond to these specific pictures that we have. So you can see ETH at 20 degrees, here it is at 50, here it is at 80. And then we're showing the direction of the energy exchange. And so lining it up like this really illustrates for the students what's changing and what it looks like in the lab versus how we're modeling it on the graph. You can also make particle diagrams here. We can illustrate how to do mass calculations. See the gummy bears? I love the gummy bears. They added snails too, like snail is now an option.
I got so excited about gummy bears, matches that burn, and nails.
And potatoes. Like, potato is an option. Like, I can't wait to see what he does next. But it's not just chemistry. You can make some really nice diagrams for physics as well. In fact, my office mate is a physics teacher at my school, and I showed him like convex and concave lenses and like the prisms and all, and he's like, I use all that. I was like, yeah, you could use this. This is for you too. So he was really excited about the physics stuff. They come in updates. So here's just a sample of like different things that they have. This is not like all they have. There's plenty more. All these things I don't understand, like these slotted weights. I don't know what that is, but he was really excited about it. And they have these carts that look like the ones that we use in the modeling curriculum. Here's some more physics stuff. With including like, you can obviously like, you can change all of those arrows and the directions. For biology, they have new things like plants. That's called a pond weed. I do love that it's UK because a stopper isn't a stopper, it's a bung. And so some of the stuff has different names, but I just enjoy it.
Can I just interject real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you have a name you want to use, you just put it in the search, and it will usually come up with the English or the American English version of it as well.
Yes.
Even if that's not what they call it, they have it linked across the pond.
And here, so this is what the website looks like for those of you that maybe were following along with me. You can see it, right, Brenda? Like you're seeing that now, the Chemix page. Okay.
Yes.
So what you get when you have like a paid account or you're using the free trial, one of the biggest advantages to that, you have all the options, right? Like you don't have, like you probably can't get a gummy bear unless you're paying for the account. Sorry. But the biggest advantage is that you can save your images and edit them later. So you can go to, they're all saved to the cloud. So you can create an image and then go to save. You do need to title it something that you will remember, from experience. And then when you want to come back and edit it later, you can go to open, and here are all the diagrams that you have saved, and you have up to 75 that you can save, and then you can just reopen it and come in and change the different parts of it. So this was, let me open some more. This is the newest feature that I've found with the paid version. You can also download these images. Um, I was previously, before the download button was there, I was screenshotting it, which is fine. It worked fine. But when you choose to download, now you have options for the different files. So you can download as JPEG, PNG, or SVG. And for using in Google and Word, the PNG or the JPEG are probably the best options. And they come out very clear. It's a high resolution image, and so it's very easy to read. I've been using this to create different versions of quizzes. If I need them to like be able to determine density and give them images of volume by water displacement, or even like a solid object with rulers next to it where they have to read and determine the volume, like I can change and make multiple versions of those diagrams. And let me see here. Let's go back. Oh wait, do you want to see some of the fun stuff under accessories? Like, I'm pretty sure that particles, that was a request from a teacher to get added in. We have ice cubes. The smoke is new or newer. You can include, like, if you want to show them that they have to get down to eye level to read, you can include that. There are multiple hand positions that you can include here. And it is inclusive. You can choose different colors. You can add what everybody needs, a desk lamp. Definitely need that. And you can include like safety features, like if you want to make sure that they're wearing their goggles, you can put that there. You can have their lab coat here. Like you can add all kinds of information that you want to add pictorially. You can also add text boxes that you can then type in. And you can, it will automatically convert certain text. And you can also include, it will do subscripts and superscripts as well. So you can type directly on to your image to identify like what solution you're using. We can also play around like well, we're gonna get off that. I'm gonna go back here. In the beaker, I have my rose, but you can change the liquid. I can change the color of the liquid. I can change the amount of the liquid. And you can change the size and the shape of the beaker. You can also pour. And do you see how like the level of the liquid changes with it? Yeah, that's.
If you may want to click on the pouring itself.
Oh yeah, here.
Well, no, on the right side with the little button on the where it says pouring, go to the right. Not there.
Right here?
Yeah, on the little turn on button on the right side of that row. Okay. Now, if you tip it,
it will pour out.
It will pour out.
And you can add different layers of liquid. And you can change the color of the layer that you want to add. Something new that I just saw was you can create chromatography, TLC strips, and then you can add the color and you can stretch out the spots. And I can now, like I teach AP chemistry, and that's one of our objectives is for separation of mixture. They have to know how to read a TLC. So I can create new pictures and new questions for them to practice with that one. Because I was hand drawing those before and they weren't good. So this is a sharing session. And so I'm going to open it up like, how are you guys using it? Or do you have any questions on how to use it? I'd love to hear how you guys are using it, because I'm sure there's plenty of things that I haven't thought of. Like Brenda showed me some stuff that I hadn't considered, and I didn't know that I could add fire to matches. So that's new.
I will say you're on the boost level, which is the lowest paid level. You're allowed 75 images. However, you can put more than one image on a screen. So I have organized mine around topics. So if I'm dealing with basic particle models, I have this thing filled with basic particle models of all sorts that I can go in and go back and choose and move them around. You can group things so that you can grab the whole molecule at once or whatever. So if you are wanting to do things around manometers, you could have several manometers on the same file. And you just go in and download by putting a little frame around it. There is a red frame that you can hook around a particular portion of your diagram, and you don't have to download the entire image of what's on the white, background there all at once. You can select portions of it if you want. So that greatly expanded what I could do.
And Brenda, I think that you said this was okay, but we can share out the images that you created just so they can see like what, like they can get inspired on like what you can do.
Sure.
They're static, you can't edit them because they are downloaded, but when you're looking at it, you'll be able to see like, oh, I can add, here's an idea of, we call them, or Brenda calls them recipes, the recipe for the conductivity tester and the recipe for the manometer. They're on the presentation, so you can play around and make exactly what you want. Somebody did ask about inserting the math formula or the graph. You can type anything that you can type, you can insert directly onto the image that you will download. But for like a graph, you'd have to make the graph in a different program and then just like lay it over on the document that you're going to create for the students. So if you're putting it into Google Doc, drop it in there and then drop the other ad on top of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And another little hint there is if you want to mix pieces from different sources and have a unified diagram, Google Draw is wonderful. And you can just place the images from a screenshot, whatever, a downloaded graphical analysis graph or whatever, and put it onto a common place. I will say Draw is easier to do particle diagrams actually than Chemix is, because it's a little easier to move things around. But yeah, there's just a lot.
I also use, and every educator has the ability to get a pro version for free of Canva. And Canva has been dramatic in helping me create really good images. So I can download these images from Chemix. I will say that like Canva being a marketing tool, it doesn't have detailed scientific equipment. It has plenty of pictures of sciencey stuff, but like if I wanted to be able to have my kids read a graduated cylinder image, Canva wasn't going to do that for me. But I could create it in Chemix and then put it just literally copy paste into Canva. And then you can add graphs. You can add any image that you download, you can add directly into Canva. And you can get a free version as an educator. Your institution may have to like get the code from Canva, but it is completely free. And your students can get one too. So Belinda asked if I can share. I can share. I have a couple different labs where I have the images from Chemix there, and I can send it to Sue. And then when we send out the images or the material from the webinar, that'll be included. I'll make a note to do that.
I'm also curious if you could show us the particles feature and how that works. Like, will it add multiple particles and it'll do it as solid, liquid, and gas, or just add circles and you kind of move them around yourself?
They're added circles, and I think Brenda moved them around herself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a particle feature, but it is a fixed image that you can make larger, smaller, add more rows, fewer rows. They have bubbles that do the same kind of thing yeah, and then you can tilt if you needed to fit in something. They have a lot of like a little, call it a powder pile.
Yeah.
It's a precipitated solid in a little lump on the bottom, and you can change its shape and then
Yep.
look so that
And the
kind
color.
of thing. And the color.
You can change the color. Did anybody try and get the free trial? it might have been a little bit too much to do while we were in the like, in the session. But let me see if there's, I'll share this again. So if I want to get rid of all of this, I can just select it and then hit trash and make it go away. Let me see there. Here's what the chromatography paper looks like, and you can make it longer. You can make more lanes. Then you can put spots on it, and you can make them. You can change the size, the diameter. You can make it blurry. You can make it stretch. So there's plenty of, and then even tells you like where to put it. It gives you the lines so that it'll lock into place. I will show you, I think that it's here. There's your snail. You can make him bigger. Oh, there's a bug too, if you do stuff with bugs. And this is bug generic, but there's also bug ant, spider, and ladybug. With chemistry, like I teach an organic class, and so this has been really helpful, like showing them how to set up like a distillation, and everything will snap into place so that you don't need to spend a ton of time, lining everything up. It'll automatically lock in, including like stoppers, which is going to call it a bung, but I'll make it a little bit bigger. And it just locks into place there. It will snap to grid. It does the same thing for stands, which they call it a retort stand, which then you can add clamps to, and it automatically snaps on to the correct place. And then you can adjust like how close you want it to. And then obviously you can go up and down too to make it. You can do, this is from the front. If you want to change the perspective. And then you can use these things for the, they don't necessarily you don't need to use it for what it was intended. Like we were using, I was using like stir bars for pills, like for medication pills, until they added medication pills. So it's just, you can get as creative as you want. Here, you can do light bulbs, you can change the light, you can make the light bigger, you can turn it on or off. I don't know what swap sockets means, but apparently you can do that too. I don't know. I'd love to hear how you guys are doing it. I teach middle school science. Let's see. So I'll put my email in the chat because Belinda, you're new to the classroom, is what I'm seeing. So I have a bunch of particle diagrams that like several of us got together years ago and we just made a ton of different particle diagrams. I can send them to you. They're Google image files, I think, but they're decent. Like our students can understand what they're saying.
Thank you. That would be helpful. I've been doing them in just Google Docs and adding drawings, but if it's different liquids, it's really hard to, I just have been struggling with making one, so that makes sense. So that'll be helpful. Thank you.
Most of ours are like for the element mixture compound classification. Yeah. That's what I have most of.
Erica, do you mind if I share some of what
Yeah.
Okay. On that very topic, here are a bunch of diagrams that I have made. Even over here, for those in chemistry, proposing possible explanations for why, like the iron and sulfur, what did they do? Because, but, how do you explain a flame test? simple hydrolysis of water, which I partially took apart. There's my conductivity tester that I played with. And you'll notice I have like gazillions of things all over the same thing, because this lovely little guy right here allows me to go and capture exactly what part of this I want to use. And I end up downloading these and saving them in organized files so that I can find them again. But you'll notice, oh dear, I've been off of it long enough. It's
You need to relog in.
I have to reload. Yeah, that's one of the things. I just leave it open. I use it so much right now with a project I'm working on. So it's I just every few days I have to stop and close it and start over again.
And
But
have your kids play with it too. Like I have my students, when we don't write traditional lab reports anymore. In my advanced classes, I have them practice by writing journal articles. So they'll read some ACS journal articles, and then when we do a lab, they prepare an article like they were trying to publish it. So they use Chemix to create the images that they need to illustrate their setup. Or instead of like typing out all the material that they were going to need, they could use that. And they are using the free one, but for what they're using, like they can get all the glassware, like all the glassware that they need is available in the free version. And they think it's fun.
yes, it is. It's like, ooh, what can I do now? I got it back open again. That was what I was going to show you. These are part of the ones that I have done. I've used 15 to 75 possible images, but you will notice that they are crowded with all sorts of things in them. So, they have balances that you can work with of various types. And oh, look, gummy bears and potatoes and scissors and crucibles and steel wool that can be
Yes. Yeah.
burning or burnt. So you can actually take a look at it in multiple ways. So it's just like, this was amazing, positively amazing. I can set the readings on this, like on the balance. I just go over here and I can decide what the mass is going to be, whether it's tilted or not, so that you can talk about what it means to be in balance if you're using triple beam balances and so on. So it was just fascinating, all the things I could do using Chemix.
And then Larry asked about being able to like bend the glass, and like everything will snap into place. There's a ton of different bends and shapes that you can choose from. And I believe that it's all selected so that, like, I've never had an issue where I couldn't get the things to fit together. Like all the shapes I needed were there. But you can like adjust some of them. Some of the different shapes you can like shorten or lengthen, and you can change the angle of the bend.
Yeah, and the rubber tubing and the wires and everything else have these little pieces on them that you can change shape, length, and so on, just moving the little markers around to get it to go into common shapes.
A gas collection by water displacement in the upside down beak flask or whatever, like the diagram that I could make for that.
And the water goes down. You can actually, it shows it with the gas at the top. When you turn it upside down, the liquid goes to the bottom of whatever device you're collecting gas in. So obviously these are two chemistry teachers, sorry, but physics has so many things as well, as Erica showed you. I definitely recommend this as a way to enhance things, because all of us have been around a while, know what it's like to try to do it in some kind of draw program, when it's like these are really technical pieces and AI is not ready for drawing lab equipment.
No, so Canva has an option. When you have the pro version of Canva, you can go in and tell its Magic Studio to create an image for. So, like I said, create an image of a student using a Bunsen burner. And she had like 8 fingers on one hand, and the Bunsen burner, like
It's
it
not a
was the
Bunsen
Bunsen
burner.
burner. It was the
I did
most
the same
ridiculous thing.
thing.
Yeah. So like AI, not great at science, but the Chemix was much, much, much better. That's fun. Go on AI and have it create some science images. And then have the
I
kids pick out what's
know.
wrong with it.
Well, first off, it's not a Bunsen burner at all.
Yeah. Oh,
Not
and
even
it doesn't know the
close.
difference between a flask and a beaker. That's the same thing. So
Oh, yeah. So, oh, and goggles. Oh my gosh. What did I get? Steampunk looking all sorts of stuff. It
oh
did not look like a lab goggle at all. It
yeah.
looked like something out of a steampunk image. The lab would be all nice and fancy and looking very modern, and then you have this thing on the face of of the scientist. Anyway, so
I don't know. Let me see if I'll see if I can pull up any of my labs that I have. I closed all my tabs so that I could, my computer wouldn't freeze. Let's see. Okay, here's an example of one. So I do standards-based grading. That's why there's learning goals at the top. But see, like that image there, I made years ago in Chemix. So that was super helpful for the students to be able to see what that was like. That's the only image I have on there. I can see what else. Oh, you're gonna see my. You guys are gonna look in my Google Drive. It's like looking in my underwear drawer. Um, it's so embarrassing. Okay. I'm not sure if I have the images in this drive. It might be in my other one. But I have used it in AP as well for to illustrate like more advanced setups. And then in my organic class, like showing how to use a SEP funnel, like with the different layers, and then you can actually like open the stopcock and you can drain, like you can show the liquid draining out the bottom.
these are static images, so you don't see things changing,
But you can
but
take, yeah.
you can take snapshots at different points as you want, as you wish.
Oh yeah, the question about the stuff flying off in the steel wool. Yeah. It gains so much that even though they see stuff leaving, it still is going to weigh more. How profound or how pronounced is the mass change with the burning matches?
It's significant,
It is
as
significant.
long as they burn several matches.
Several, okay.
And I have them layered them on a watch glass and then light one and put it in the middle of the match heads and whoosh. I was trying to figure out a way to get one more thing in that lab. When I had a bunch of matches in the back, I was not going to give them 4 Bunsen burners.
Yeah.
Because I did not want the matches palmed and leaving the room. So I just would take the boxes, the little ones, and put just enough matches that I was refilling them periodically through the day, but there was no temptation to grab a box of matches and take it with them.
Well,
Does anyone had a diagram that they just felt like, I wish I could?
I've been using the modeling materials for AP Physics 1 for years. And yes, I mean, this stick figure of a squirrel that was made in Word I've like looked at it this year and I said, do I really still have this in my slides? So yes, I'm going to go attack those and go get rid of them. Yeah, wanky, pictures of jet airplanes and stuff. So yeah, I can't wait to update them and modify them. And in physics, it really, it has been a challenge, going in and changing a line and trying to put a little arc there so that you show that this is a 32-degree angle. I mean, all of that stuff is just so time consuming, and it just wears you down when you're in the middle of a semester and you've got tons of grading waiting for you.
Yeah, but then you'll get into this and it'll take up all your time because you just want to keep playing with it.
Well, if it's fun and it comes out and it's useful and it's productive, then it's easy to do. But if it still looks
Yes.
like crap and you spend,
Yeah.
hours on it, that's it's discouraging.
I did this one this year because this is a new ad, the balloon, and you can do it like deflated, half inflated, and all inflated. And this looks ridiculous, but they get it.
Okay.
Like, and it snaps to the same size as the flask. So, um, yeah,
That's great.
that's a new one.
I'd like to suggest that we could crowdsource diagrams to update the physics, especially the physics is really old.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I could set up a folder in Google Drive and with subfolders for each of the units. And if anybody just came up with diagrams that they thought were useful, they could park them there, and then we could sit there and use it to make modifications to the curricular materials that are up there on the website.
Yeah, I know Brian Battaglia was interested in helping with that project, and so he's seen the wonders of Chemix too.
Yeah,
So
I
Eric and
would
I couldn't help sharing.
I wouldn't be I would be very glad to share. I mean, even just the fact that if we standardized around Chemix, that if one teacher did one unit and another one did another unit, they would seem, they would seem like they go together.
Cohesive.
Cohesive, that was the word I was looking for.
I went crazy with because I do standards-based grading. My students reassess frequently, like so I have to have multiple versions. And before Chemix, oh my God, like trying to find pictures that I could ask
Yeah.
questions about. And sometimes if a student's absent for a lab, I'll just build out what we did in Chemix and give them data so that they don't need to, like especially if we have, like right now the flu is destroying our school. And so like I have students out for like a week at a time. And when they come back, like there's no time to do that lab. But here I can give you like, this is what it looked like. I can also take those images and put them on the assessments and then ask them much better questions about the lab that we did than what I could do without a picture.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's more and more need for that. And Erica, as you mentioned, the independent schools. I mean, I have some students that are doing some pretty incredible things in their sports, in their arts, and they
Yeah.
miss long swaths of classes. And there's no good way for them to make, sometimes for them to make up that lab.
What school are you at?
I'm at Darlington in Northwest Georgia. And we're also a boarding school. So, when
Okay.
kids go home and yeah, we have Chinese, Vietnamese students. So when they go home, they usually take a longer trip. I mean, it takes them quite a while to get home.
And what I've found, they can't access the websites there that we can unless they have a VPN. So like telling them go and do this virtual lab, they can't do it because they can't access that site. Like my rust on that,
Okay.
that's circles. Like I just took circles and stuck them on the nail. And then graphs. So I think it's about time for everyone to
Okay.
come back in, right?
Yeah, we should be getting folks back in. Yeah, middle school might also enjoy being able to use this, Belinda.